Tesla stock is getting beaten down yet again today. Down over 1.5% at the time of recording this video. In this video, we're going to get into everything you need to know on Tesla stock today. We did not get news of Model 3 price cuts in the US, but we did get other news. Tesla has launched up to 8% cheaper Model Y lease pricing in the US with a 36-month term, which the monthly payments on these are only down minimally. $399 a month to $379 a month, $469 to $430, and $539 to $510 a month. You can also see the down payment was estimated at $4,500 before. Now it's shown at $3,500. But this is probably because 10-year treasury yields have dropped from 5% down to the low 4s. So I would argue this is probably not the reason why Tesla stock is falling today. So why is it? Why is Tesla stock getting beaten down in 2024? First and foremost, there are fears that we could see more price cuts in the US, and that does have a very negative impact on Tesla stock, at least in the short term. We are also seeing shorts taking out short positions in Tesla at unprecedented scales. I mean, take a look at the cost to borrow fees, around 10% on Tesla. That is abnormally high, and it's been that way for a week or two now. That means that short sellers are willing to pay 10% just to get their hands on shares of Tesla to short. So that implies there's a lot of demand to short Tesla stock. The second big thing that is really affecting Tesla stock right now is we're going to get upcoming earnings this Wednesday, meaning this upcoming Wednesday, and the historical performance of Tesla stock following earnings is not great. Tesla stock back in April of 2023 fell 9.75% the day after earnings. On July 20th, 2023, following Q2's earnings the next day, Tesla stock fell 9.74%. And what happened last earnings? Tesla stock fell 9.3% the following day. So 3 earnings in a row, Tesla stock has fell almost 10% the day after. I mean, I couldn't think of an easier short than that. There is a little bit of good news though, because Tesla stock falling so much before earnings, well, it really de-risks Tesla. We are priced for bad things on Tesla's earnings call. We're not priced for an announcement of a $25,000 vehicle, a licensing deal for FSD, for a smoother ramp of the Cybertruck. None of these positive catalysts are priced in at all to Tesla stock. So the good news is it's not going to take a lot to get Tesla stock to rise following earnings. Based on the last 3 earnings being almost a 10% decline the next day, you could actually see a 10% rally this time. As long as earnings are just not a total disaster and full year guidance is not a total disaster and Elon on the earnings call is not a total disaster. I mean, what does Warren Buffett always say? Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. I'm being greedy when others are fearful right now. I did indeed just make another earnings trade for Tesla's earnings today. I think after this fall, it's a no-brainer. If you guys want to check that out, click on the link down below in the description of this video. Consider joining the trading community. But let's now get into all of your Tesla and EV specific news and what's going on in our markets today. I should also note the almost continual rise that we have seen since the start of 2024 with the 10-year treasury yield is also having a negative impact on Tesla stock, but I don't think it's having that much of an impact. 10-year treasury yields up about 2.5 basis points today to 4.17%. In response to 8% cheaper Model Y lease prices, Gary Black says this shouldn't impact Tesla's P&L, likely reflects the $7,500 tax credit off invoice that lesser blank counterparty gets now that IRS has approved the EV credit transfer. But some people do believe this is a demand problem, so hopefully we get more clarity on that, and that's not the case coming on Tesla's earnings. I'm inclined to believe this is not a demand problem because dropping the rear-wheel drive, what is this, $20 a month is really not gonna help much. You know who does have a potential demand problem though? Toyota. Toyota sold under 15,000 EVs in the US in 2023. And guess what this article says? Why investors should sell Tesla and buy Toyota instead. Just another example how mainstream media hates Tesla and hates Elon. More than 1.5 million electric cars will be newly registered in the EU in 2023, 37% more than 2022. Yet analysts say EV demand is falling. I mean, I don't know what we expect. 37% is very high levels of growth. Ford has officially confirmed it is scaling back F-150 Lightning production by 50% throughout 2024. As Squawk Square says, well, Ford cut Lightning production, stock's not even moving. If Tesla cut production by 10 cars, the stock would lose 10%. Isn't that the truest thing you have ever heard? Cadillac has officially begun production of its $340,000 Celestiq EV. They expect to build, GM that is, around 100 to 150 units per year with 300 miles of range, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, 111 kilowatt hour battery pack, 38 speakers, 55-inch of combined front screen, and heated armrest as well as door pads. Tesla has finally released the adaptive headlights feature for the new Model 3 in the EU. The car will dim individual pixels in the headlights to reduce glare for other drivers and cyclists. Tesla will be at the Washington, D.C. Auto Show for next week. They'll have a Cybertruck, Model Y, Model X, and Model S on display. They'll also offer rides outside. Tesla Manufacturing says if you look into the paint booth from the entry point, you can see the curvature of the earth. It is that long. Our fully automated paint lines enable colors that are unprecedented in the industry. This could be a little bit of disappointing news, although it's quite understandable. Jerry Rig Everything drove the Cybertruck from a 100% charge to a 2% state of charge while towing 11,000 pounds mostly on the highway. Ambient air temp was 32 degrees Fahrenheit, some wind outside, 35-inch all-terrain tires. He got 90 miles of range with 2% left. Again, typically you're not going to be hauling 11,000 pounds. If you are, you're probably not going to be doing that when it's 32 degrees outside, and the Hummer is very much not aerodynamic at all. So this would be very atypical that you would actually see someone towing a military grade Hummer. But nonetheless, still only 90 miles. It's not that attractive, but I would want to see a more real life comparison, like hauling a boat, right? How many miles do you get hauling a boat, which is going to be a little bit more aerodynamic than a square boxed Hummer? And let's say during summertime conditions, 70, 80 degrees outside, then how much mileage do you actually get? Tesla's Google Trend activity does show the Cybertruck bottoming out around 20, the Model X at 9, the Model Y at 32, which is bottoming as well, and the Model 3, which did just take quite a big downturn. Tesla's global inventory numbers seeing the Model Y hitting a new all-time high at 7,229 global units, the Model X trading down here at about 2,000 units, trading, look at me in my trader's hat. And you do have the Model S down here at about 900 units at almost a 12-month low, and the Model 3 sitting at about 745, which is a 12-month low. And Tesla continues to run about 400 different ads globally. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is down about 4% today to 56%. It's basically a coin toss whether a stock is above their 50-day moving average or not. You're actually seeing a lot of carnage under the surface of this market. But if you only paid attention to the SPY ETF, you would notice you hit a new all-time high today. So this market is a little bit on the top-heavy side, which makes me somewhat nervous heading into next week's earnings and the following week of earnings, which you're going to get all of your big tech names. CNN Business's Fear and Greed Index is at 71, which is just strange because you would not expect it to be here. I think it's tracking the SPY more than anything because people are not greedy under the surface of this market. Far from it. Investors are actually turning quite neutral, if not bearish. We can see that via the latest AI investor sentiment survey. Bulls at 40.4%, neutral at 32.9%, which is a big jump from last week's number of 27.2%, and bearish investors jumping about 2.6% as well to 26.8%. Tesla's option activity today is pretty muted as well. Not a lot of option activity so far from hedge funds and institutions. You have seen 386 orders totaling $87.35 million with a positive order value of 44%. If you take a look at the totality of the volume in the options market, about 58% of the volume was calls and about 42% of the volume today was puts. Average consensus estimates from sell-side analysts on Wall Street in Tesla stock that cover Tesla have an EPS target for Q4, which is going to be this week's earnings, at 73 cents, which is actually unchanged from 1 month ago. That is still down about 2 cents over the past 3 months when the estimate was 75 cents of EPS. Now, we will talk about this more in the next video. My estimates for Tesla's EPS, we could see about 90 or so cents, which that would be great news, beating the EPS estimates. We already know deliveries beat estimates. Hopefully margins can beat estimates, but it's really all about the forward-looking commentary. Markets are still barely pricing in the first rate cut for March 20th, 2024. The odds of a rate cut sit at 50.0%. The odds of a continued pause, meaning no cut in March, is 49.5%. So you're half of 1% difference between pricing in a rate cut and not. For the totality of 2024, markets are currently pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rate cuts. That is priced in at 34.5%. The odds of 5 rate cuts sits at 32.1%. Now, we'll talk about this in the next video. This is actually very bullish for our markets. And if we take a look at the sentiment gauge over here on StockTwits, you are at 1 out of 100. This is always going to be the best time to buy Tesla stock when everyone is bearish. This, I think, is perversely bullish for Tesla stock, seeing everyone bearish. Message volume is extremely high at 95, so there's a lot of bears, but there's a lot of activity around Tesla. Precisely what I like to see. The participation ratio is at 38, which is almost normal. On a technical basis, Tesla stock is down 1.33% now at the time of recording this video. So you are seeing a little bit of a bounce. Those calls I bought earlier are probably going to be looking pretty nice following that. But your RSI is on the oversold side at 27.37. In the past, when you've gotten the RSI at oversold levels, you have seen a 30 to 40% bounce. Within the last 12 months, that has happened 4 times. I don't think this time's going to be any different. Whether or not earnings starts that bounce, that's another question. Now, the MACD is also very much in the negatives. And as we are seeing all of this shorting activity that is pushing Tesla stock lower, it actually pushes the dollar amount that's sold short lower as well. Whereas there's more shorts, but a lower stock price, the dollar amount is lower. Now, this means if Tesla stock does see a rally from here, short sellers are going to be losing their ass quickly. You do have 3.24% short interest of free float, $18.95 billion worth of short positions currently in Tesla stock. Here on the day today, TLT is flat. Oil is down about 1%. That is good. The dollar is up 0.1%. And let's go ahead and refresh that. It's actually down 0.1%. So that's actually great news as well. Gold is up about 0.25%, which is not a big deal. That is going to go ahead and do it for this video. That is everything you need to know on Tesla stock today. And let me tell you, we have a lot more to talk about in the next video coming out at 8 p.m. tonight. Highly recommend you guys watch that video. That is one you do not want to miss if you are bullish and especially if you are bearish on Tesla stock. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you made it to the end of this video. If you guys want to come see the trades that I'm putting on Tesla, the trades that we are putting on in our markets, maybe come hedge your portfolio, do a little YOLOing and learn some of the strategies that we employ to potentially take risk-free trades and potentially make massive sums of money. We did that a lot last earnings season. That was very successful. We've already done that once this earnings season with Discover. I say risk-free because nothing is risk-free. You could lose all of your money if you trade anything that I trade, but there are specific strategies we employ to lower your risk, especially around earnings. None of this is a financial advice. It's financial advice. It's not. It's not. Come to your own conclusions. But that is a great source and a great tool that you can use. Link down below in the description of this video. Plus, it helps make these videos possible each and every single day. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Michael Tyler, and you guessed it, I will see you in the next one.